What I want to do is introduce myself, and this is my father, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, because he made me, but he also was in television in the 50s, and we had film editing equipment on the dining room table, and I used to play with all that stuff, and it was really a lot of fun. One of his clients was the sheriff of Cook County in Chicago, and my father would produce these juvenile delinquency scare films. That's actually a juvenile delinquent with a bag over his head, not me. But he also did some fun things. He produced a newlywed game show, and he'd bring me down to the studio. I would be like, I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I remember one time they had, one of the contests was the newlyweds, if they would pick the right bell from a bunch of aluminum foil wedding bells, if the one that would ring, they would get a free honeymoon. So before the show started, I'm playing with the bells, I find the one that rings, I tell one of the couples, hey, that's the one that rings. And the show goes on, they ring the bell, everybody's cheering and happy and everything like that, and I go running, Daddy, 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 I told them the bell that rings. And he said, you did what? Says, we have to pay for those honeymoons. So at the ripe old age of 5, I learned the word money, and so that's why I'm here. I had to get a job. So this is my first job out of college. I had hair in those days. I was an audiovisual guy. And then I worked in hospitals doing video production, and the surgeons had told me not to hold the camera over the surgical field. So I dropped the camera.
No.
I ended up in jail. That's where I met Corey, by the way. No, this is Muscular Dystrophy Association fundraiser. So, but I had plenty of time in jail to write, so I wrote for several video magazines, and then eventually wrote a book called Corporate Video Production. And then during the writing of corporate video, I figured what I want to do is contact the biggest corporations and see what they're doing with video. So I found these amazing things, like McDonald's. You think that McDonald's has people that are protesting and upset over all these cheap hamburgers are causing thousands of cows to be belching methane gas and screwing up our ozone layer. Well, McDonald's has a video called Sustainability at McDonald's. And I'm thinking, how do they do this? They've got these marketing teams that will do research and have focus groups and really understand the audience. And they're taking on some pretty tough challenges. For example, Walmart. Everybody loves Walmart. They come into your community. All the local businesses go out of business. The hardware store, the grocery store go out of business. So I'm looking at Walmart's YouTube page. They all have YouTube pages now, and say, well, what are they doing besides selling their products? Well, they had a video that was titled, "We Are All Praying for Walmart." So let's take a look at it to see the challenge that Walmart has. They found the story and created a story to change people's minds.
My name is Adelaide Randall. I am a resident of the 9th Ward. I've lived here for 40-some years now. I just can't leave. I'm at home, and it's hard to leave home. We had gateless. We had a high and low grocery store. If you had an A&P, now all those stores are gone. And when the stores was here, it was just a nice, quiet, clean area when the stores was here now. But when the stores started leaving, drugs got busy. They started selling more drugs, robbery, the crime rate went up. The Walmart. That's a long ways from here. I'd have to have someone to take me. But if I was going to go shopping, I would go to the Walmart. We got a new Walmart. Say we got our Walmart. I would go there and shop. And I could bring my things home. I could do it by myself. I fought for the Walmart. Because when we leave here today, it's a long ways from here. And I like to go through the store and take my time. And by me being in the wheelchair, it takes some time. And all I can just visualize that Walmart is going to be sitting out here next year. And I can get my Memorial Day food from right here. I don't know if you saw all the land over there. The land is going to waste. And this would be a perfect place for it. We all are praying for this Walmart.
We all are praying for Walmart. Who would think? So one of the reasons I showed this is that you really can change people's minds. You could influence them with a well-made video. In your case, hopefully you don't have a reputation that you need to change, but you're all trying to sell your product or service. So one of the reasons I pointed this out is that it's very low production value. It's very easy to film somebody talking and then get some what they call B-roll shots, in this case the store, over her speaking. But I don't know if she was coached or not, but there are certain words, like drugs and Memorial Day food that would bring people's attention to the video, and in this case, perhaps some people may have a different opinion about Walmart. Let me show you one more. Again, these are things that I have not done. British Petroleum, they're one of our friends if you live in the Gulf. They had, 100 million gallons of oil, spill into the Gulf, and I think like 60 miles of coastline get damaged. So BP Oil made a commercial, but it was also a longer YouTube video. And let's kind of look at this again to see production values. What ideas can we get for making our own videos?
And is that late?
Well, okay, let's try again. Yeah, there we go. Take 3.
More than 2 years ago, the people of BP made a commitment to the Gulf, and every day since, we've worked hard to keep it. Today, the beaches and Gulf are open for everyone to enjoy. We've shared what we've learned so we can all produce energy more safely. BP's also committed to America. We support nearly 250,000 jobs and invest more here than anywhere else. We're working to fuel America for generations to come. Our commitment has never been stronger.
Okay, so instead of saying, sorry, we messed up your your Gulf, they really took a spin on what is positive about BP, and they have words like commitment to America. They have a narrator who has the same accent as people in Louisiana rather than a British accent. It's all this pretty stuff, but really a small business could do a similar thing. A lot of that was probably stock footage, the underwater stuff and the stuff at the beach. Maybe they could afford to do all that stuff. Yeah, Linda?
Excuse me, you said stacked?
Oh, S-T-O-C-K.
Pardon?
S-T-O-C-K, stock footage, where you could purchase the rights to use footage. And you could make your own video with that. You combine it with some of your own stuff too, but there's lots of places where you could get that. I can give you information about that. But it was a combination of a well-written script. It was the narrator who kind of is like, kind of down-home kind of a guy, and pretty pictures. There were certain words, key words like commitment to America that was said, at least a couple of times. So they are British Petroleum, even though they call themselves BP. So if you think about keywords, images that your audience is going to like, you could come up with a video that can be successful for you. So what I'm really here to talk about is distribution, getting your video out there so that people will see it and go to your website. And nowadays it's done with sharing. So you want to get video on your website. You want to draw people to your website. So if you have a video, you want people to share it. If they're going back to your website, you have more website visitors, then you have a more chance of when someone does a Google search for your category, Google sees, hundreds of people, thousands of people are going to this website every day. This must be an important website. So video is one of the ways that you could help bring people to your website. You could have a blog. The blog could be on your website or just on a blog page. And within the blog, you could have content where people could learn something, and you could have your videos on there too. But again, the video, it's great if it brings people back to your website. And then you could start using social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. YouTube could actually be the host of your video. It's really a very well-planned program because they use this thing called adaptive bitrate recording. You don't need to write that down. There'll be no quiz or anything. But the idea is they can, when they're sending a signal out, they actually are sending several different streams out, and they figure out what speed your connection is. And if it's a little bit slower, they'll reduce the quality just so you could see it. So it's really a loads of people and corporations are using YouTube too, and right now all of it is free. And the idea is that you make your YouTube video, put it on your website, make a Facebook post with a link to your website page that has the video, Twitter, LinkedIn, similar kinds of posting. All you need to do to have a YouTube channel is to have a Gmail account. Again, it's free, but they do require you to have a Gmail account with a password. And one of the cool things about YouTube is the sharing. You see the stuff highlighted in blue? That actually is a link to the video on YouTube. So if you want people to go to YouTube to watch your video, it's a very easy thing to do. Put it at the end of your emails to people, or you could embed it on your own website. YouTube has some amazing features and enhancements. And for one thing, in the description of your video, you could put in like 5,000 characters. And very few people are even using this. And those characters would be words. There will be keywords when Google is sending out their spiders, that's the term that they use, where they're looking for keywords. You have more of an opportunity to get keywords. In this case, Uptown Body and Fender, we did a video for them. And we put in things like Premier Body Shop, but also community event space, because she lets nonprofits use her organization. We put in a link to the Facebook page. And to a little thing about insurance claims. You could use YouTube to link to your partners. In this case, we did a video for a dog food company, Nutro, but they had an event at PetSmart. And so what I put in my contract now, please put a link on your website to my website, and I'll do the same for you. I don't think PetSmart or Nutro cares about AV consultants, but I care about them because there's a lot of people going to their website. Again, this called reciprocal links, or other ways that your website is going to get noticed when people are doing searches, and having a video is a fun way. People like to watch videos. So, all right, so what I want to do is show you a couple samples of what I have done. My favorite thing in the world, some of us are in B&I would say, what's the best referral for me? I like to do documentaries. Unfortunately, there's not much money in documentaries. So I do like what I call documentary style business videos. Sometimes they're for nonprofits, but sometimes they're for companies too. Basically, you're perhaps presenting a problem and then showing through interviews and B-roll, which is just shots of stuff going on.
There's another term.
Yeah, B, the letter B roll. Yeah, A roll generally. What's that?
R-O-L-E?
R-O-L-E, yeah. R-O-L-L, sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what that means, yeah, these are a little, they used to have reels of films that they would call rolls, actually. So you would shoot your A stuff as interviews, usually people on camera, and B is, yeah, although I say it's the more fun stuff, frankly, because it's the pretty pictures that will support and give variety, visual variety to what people are talking about. So let's take a look at one. We did this for, it's a group called Christian Care Homes, and they build low-income housing for seniors in Oakland. And we did a few little videos for them.
America is facing an unprecedented challenge. 11,000 people are turning 65 every day, many with limited income. Mr. Elton Rivers is one such individual. When his spouse of many years passed away, his change of income required him to seek more affordable housing.
I want to thank each and every one of y'all for helping us and taking care of seniors. And y'all are doing a beautiful, great job. And please keep up the work, not only for me, but for the rest of the seniors.
All right, so I'm just going to pause this over here. So here was a case where in the script writing, then actually in this case the client wrote the script, even narrated it. It's actually the client's voice narrating it, because it'd be a very low budget thing. But the idea was to present a problem and how their organization is solving the problem. The problem being, X number of people turning 65 every day, and many of whom can't afford housing. So they specialize in housing for seniors. The idea is that their audience really would be people who would come to a fundraising dinner, some of whom may have had financial issues at one point, but they have a heart and they care about other people. And in this case, they presented, a gentleman who might have been homeless, might have been on a flop house if it wasn't for, this program for him. So what I want to do is move over to talking about production planning and creativity. The boss is saying, you get back to that goddamn cubicle and start thinking outside the box. Now with creativity, one of the interesting bits of research is that when we think creatively, we're thinking visually. We are really visual people, even though there's lots of words and stuff like that. But visuals is really, I think, where you're going to get people's attention, where you could really be creative, through visuals, through motion pictures. I think you could really connect with people. People could resonate with perhaps a person talking because they see him talking, they see just the nuances of the person. And you could put together, we were talking about B-roll, you could put together some really beautiful shots, whether it's the stock footage or footage that you shoot yourself with a combination of music, a well-written script, a narrative that is read by a professional narrator, putting together the motion from some of your images, the editing. It all becomes a rhythm that could all work together almost in synergy. So one of the ways that you could plan your video is by doing brainstorming, and the technique of brainstorming is to get a group of people together and come up with a whole bunch of wacky ideas and eventually hone it down to the ideas that really work. It would be great if you could get people together that are representative of the audience that you're marketing your video to. It's called a focus group. But the idea is to try to generate ideas. I encourage people to get away from what we call in the industry the talking head. That would be aiming the camera at somebody like me and just talking and talking and talking. What you want to do is think, is there a story here? Is there are there some visuals? Are there some key elements here that we could show, even if it's graphics or stock footage, to try to make something visually interesting? Because people like to think in visuals. So some of the, help yourselves to food. I mean, it's a casual thing, so don't worry, get up and eat some more. So, on our website, at the top, I guess these laser pointers don't work on these kinds of LED screens, do they? At the very top, there's, we have a production planning guide that you could download. It's a one-page PDF, and it asks you what are the objectives that you want to achieve from your video. Who's your audience? What are some key words? What are some visuals that you think would be appropriate for you? And we have some other things on our websites. And that's really where the handout comes in, because in production planning, you've got your audience, and it's important, in addition to the demographics, what are their attitudes on the subject? What do they already know about the subject? And in terms of your objective, what do you really want people to do? It's great that you want them to know something, but do you want them to do something? Do you want them to buy your product? Do you want them to click on this link to get your ebook? And do you want them to vote for your candidate? There's things that if you could focus on what you want them to do in writing your script and planning your video, it'll be more effective. I was speaking about imagery is just so important. So try to think visually. What would turn on your audience?
Is this graphic available on your website?
Yeah, but it's just to your left. It's in the handout too. Yeah. So yeah. Actually, it's probably not on our website, but the production planning guide is. Yeah. So brainstorming I mentioned, and then this fact plus framework equals concept. The facts is what you're gathering, doing your research. Frameworks is what they call the genre, the type of video. So let's look at the different kinds of frameworks. You could create animation. Have you seen these, I don't know if they call them infographics, where you see somebody drawing real quickly on like a whiteboard, and that's put with music and narration. There's other kinds of graphics that could kind of catch people's attention. Demonstration, any of you have a product that you're selling, or a process, you could demonstrate that. A tour, which is what we did basically at Uptown Auto Body. Giovanna just led me through on a tour, introducing me to people and watching them painting cars and getting out dents and all that kind of stuff. The documentary subjective camera POV, what that means, if I'm walking with the camera, it's kind of like an opposite of a selfie. I'm aiming the camera wherever I'm walking, so you see that point of view. So you can see some motion. If you could dramatize a situation, what would happen if let's say someone dies and they own a company, and maybe after the funeral people are getting together, well, now what are we going to do? You could have a little dramatization of a difficult conversation that people could have, and then show how with good succession planning that you can solve that problem. Parody is humor. So I highly suggest that you hire somebody who's funny. It's difficult to write humor. I've tried it and I've been good with it. Interview, we saw some of those shots there, that guy, Mr. Rivers, that was in an interview kind of a format. Montage is a bunch of pictures together with music usually, sometimes with narration. And on-camera narrator would be somebody just speaking on camera, newscast, panel discussion. We did have a client that had a product called Audio Bone. It's headphones that don't go into the ears, and he wanted to do a news story, make it look like a news story. So he actually hired an actress and set up what he called the innovation show. And you watch it, it's almost like you're watching TV, and here's our latest innovative product, Audio Bone. So that would be what like a newscast would be. And then I mentioned stock footage earlier. So these are what we call the frameworks, or the different kinds of genres. You can mix them all up too. And then now in the industry they call an outline or a plan for a script a treatment. And with me, I don't care if you really write a complete script, but just have some kind of a plan. And the idea is that if you're writing for people to speak, write for the spoken word, and there's resources, there are speech writers that could help you with that if you're going to have like an on-camera narrator. When you're writing, one of the tools that I use is to start anywhere. You don't have to start at the beginning, just write and revise and revise. You put the introduction, the conclusion, sometimes when you're done with all of your writing. Use pictures to tell your story. And with scripts, it doesn't really matter how you write a script. Some people will draw a line down the center and have audio on one side, video on the other side. Video will be the description of the pictures. And then just revise and revise. All right, so now I want to show you a cool example that we've done on at least 2 occasions with clients. If you're going to hire us for a day of filming, why not make more than one film? So in this case, this is Karen Karch. She's a chiropractor. And oh, is she? Okay. Okay. We should have used you as a model. Why didn't we? So what she can do now is, these are like a bunch of very short videos, 2-3 minutes long each. Post them on a blog, let's say once a month. She's got a new video. Or if there's some kind of a discussion going on the internet about upper back pain or lower back pain, she could join that discussion and say, watch this video on that. So you have a whole variety of videos. We did it with a psychotherapist who specializes in mindfulness. He made like 8 different videos, dealing with stress management, dealing with employment issues. And he's got like a whole bunch of different videos, and he could rotate. So you're not watching, your customers or potential customers are not watching the same video over and over again. So let's look at the upper back video.
Hi, I'm going to show you how I do Graston technique on the upper back, or specifically the trapezius muscles. So the trapezius starts at the occiput and goes to the shoulder and down to the middle of the back on each side. So I want you to do range of motion. Turn your head as far as you can to the right and as far to the left, and see which side is more restricted or tight. So it looks like it's the left side. So I'm going to start Grastoning, and this is going to help lift up and stretch gently the skin and the fascia over the muscles. Now I want you to start turning your head to the right and to the left. And we'll do that a few times, and then we'll check her range of motion again. And then I'm going to stop, and let's check your range of motion turning to the right and to the left. And how does that look? That looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Now I'm going to show you Graston technique and how it affects.
Pause this here in the interest of time. So Dr. Karch wants people to know that she's not that kind of chiropractor that twists you into a pretzel and has all this cracking and stuff going on. She wanted to show that she has a more gentle technique, and that's what she is able to accomplish over here. So the next thing that I want to show is a testimonial video. Testimonials are just one of the most powerful ways I think that businesses could use video. You've got a customer that likes what you've done. Have that customer talk to your prospect. Then it's no longer you trying to sell them. It's like customer to customer talking. So in this case, someone, a BNI referral, actually a visitor came to one of our BNIs, a year later calls me up. She's an acupuncturist, and she says, I do fertility treatments, and one of my patients is very pregnant. She's going to be delivering very soon. How quickly can you come here with the camera? So we interviewed her, and then we interviewed another patient also who brought along her 18-month-old child. And using acupuncture, the doctor was able to improve the overall health so that they were able to give birth. So we made like about a 4-minute video. Let's see if this is going to start. Okay, but this is of the one with the 18-month-old child. She set up a little area, a little play pen, with crayons and stuff like that, and we're filming, and the woman's talking about her fallopian tubes and all this kind of stuff. And then the child walks in. She wasn't supposed to, of course. We kept the camera rolling, and you'll see what happens. We got what we call our money shot.
This is the Layla. She's 19 months old. She likes to color. Yeah, I feel like she's sort of my miracle baby, really. I actually don't have a...
Okay, so we don't need to talk about, because I don't have a fallopian tube. 15 seconds, and it tells the story, and it could be very emotional for a woman that's having difficulty, achieving, childbirth. So,
Stu, that's actually a question that I have in terms of, everybody has a short attention span. What do you find is an optimal length for effective videos for, that you're going to post on your website?
Well, thank you. And he is not a shill. That's a question I want, because there was a study of Facebook videos, and they studied how long people are going to continue to watch the video to the end. And what do you think it was?
40 seconds.
40 seconds?
I'd say 30, 25 seconds.
30 seconds?
20 to 25 seconds.
20 to 25? 15 seconds, okay. Well, the Facebook study was 21 seconds. You win the prize. You get a free Facebook page. So that's pretty amazing when you think. I mean, we're so used to, it's even shorter than a commercial, a 30-second commercial. Not that you have to make them that short, but if you could really tell your story without just a lot of fluff and get right to it, and perhaps make a longer video into a bunch of shorter videos, then you could get people to watch things. Because people don't have much attention when they're on the internet. Yeah, Corey?
Does it make sense then, because one of the things about that study too is, and I know that sometimes I just look at a video just to even see if I want to see it. So it's got to capture me within those 20 seconds, and probably even 10 seconds to say, if I can continue this for 2 minutes.
Right.
So I think a video, it seems to me like it can be longer, but you've got to do the upfront work of saying, getting to your audience immediately.
Exactly.
Landing on a web page, they spend 3 seconds on a web page, but if you capture them, then they stay.
Exactly, yeah. So that's where the production planning comes in. You want to speak to the audience, find some images that they could resonate with.
So
And-
about 5 minutes of warm up.
What's that? Yeah, right. Yeah, and you see this all the time. Before we did the stuff with Dr. Karch, I looked at some of her videos that she shows in her waiting room, and there's someone sitting on the table, and this chiropractor's talking, and he's talking, and he's talking. Get to the process. So,
Insomnia video.
yeah. Let me see what I have here next. So I'm just going to show just a couple of seconds of this video. I'm going to get onto Facebook and then we'll wrap things up. But in this case, we did a video for Blue Heron Catering, and when I talked with them, I met with their chef, and they're all into this organic, locally sourced. I said, great, let's go to the farmer's market. I'll follow the chef around. We had like a brainstorming session, and what we realized is they're not selling food. They're selling happiness. They're selling good times, people getting together, and we decided we want to have shots of people eating and drinking and smiling. So I'll just show you a couple seconds here.
Celebrating life's cherished moments. Sharing food and drink with friends and loved ones. Enjoying the best that life has to offer. What better way to celebrate than with fine food and friends? What better way to host your party than with Blue Heron Catering?
Okay, frankly, the video was a lot longer than that, but that surprised us because I was all set to follow the chef around, and so we realized that their audience really is people that go to parties and want to have good times and have drinks together. And so these are rare moments that we have together, but we want to show people having fun. So the next thing I just want to briefly get into, Facebook has their own video platform now. You could load things directly from your Facebook page. You have video on your computer, just like you could load a photo, you could load it directly. With Twitter, Twitter has their own platform. This is an app from your cell phone. Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, has a 15-second app on your cell phone. 15 seconds is all. We were talking about earlier how long you want to make these videos. And there's also Vine, which is 6 seconds long. Now, why would any business think that they could get something done in 6 seconds? Well, Lowe's home stores figured it out. They've got like a whole bunch of how-to videos. Anybody ever use a power screwdriver where you strip the head of the screwdriver because you're overusing it? I mean, I have fun with my power tools. So this is a 6-second solution. I'll play it again. It's just a thick rubber band. Yeah, and they've got a whole bunch of these. Yeah, they've got a whole bunch of these little, how to unclog toilets and things like that. And the next one I want to show, second to last clip, or I don't know if you're standing up because you're trying to get me to shut the hell up, but okay, all right, yeah. I cleaned that one up, frankly. Everybody familiar with the fashion company Burberry out of London?
Yeah.
Okay, so the president, Christine Ahrens, I think might be her name, she did a deal with Apple Computer back in the days when Apple came out with the iPhone 5, because Burberry was starting to use video. They had these jazz concerts as part of their talent shows, or not talent, their fashion shows, and they got really popular, and they struck this deal with Apple to promote the iPhone 5 and promote Burberry at the same time, and they just got gobs. I'm talking about viral videos. It really went viral. So let me show you just very simple Instagram video shot with probably with a cell phone. So I had an opening shot, a closing shot, had a lot of the fashion line in there, and it's all done just on a cell phone. And so Ahrens actually now is the vice president of Apple. She's the vice president for retail sales of Apple. Yeah. So, work out your deals with your cell phone. All right. So, one last video that I want to show is, anybody ever heard of Red Bull, the energy drink? Anybody ever taste it? I haven't. But Red Bull, part of their branding is to sponsor these extreme sports events. So this is one of their videos that went viral overnight.
Con los terroristas.
You can all get up and dance if you want. All right, so we're all going to go skydiving next week.
Or is that a layover or whatever you call it?
The camera's upside down.
I mean, they're all skydiving.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Wearing their tutus. Yeah. So anyway, that's the kind of video I will not do. Do almost any other kind of video, but you're not going to get me to jump out of an airplane. So anyway, we'll have a couple of minutes for some questions. I hope you guys have learned something. Feel free to call on me. Visualization, production planning, probably those are the two biggest things.
So I've heard, and you can either verify or debunk, that having video on your website, or whatever, that is more likely, that's going to move you faster up in the rankings.
Right.
In the SEO rankings.
Yeah, so Forrester Research about 5 years ago did a study where they compared thousands of websites, and they compared the ones that had video versus the ones that had text on there only, and their findings showed 52 times greater. However, I used to have a link to this Forrester thing on my website. Now when you go there, in big bold letters, this study was done 5 years ago. This is not representative of how it is now. So, if it boosts it 2 times, boosts it 5 times, it's probably going to boost it quite a bit. But the reason behind that is that, as far as people understand, Google has this thing they call page rank, and it's like a secret sauce. But as people understand, one of the ways to get the higher page rank is to have what is known as engagement objects, which basically is just interactivity. And one of the engagement object would be a survey. People are responding to you, they're engaging with you. Another is video. People are pressing that play button, or maybe hopefully pressing the rewind or the fast forward button, but they're doing things. And Google likes to see that. Content, of course, is the other thing. So we try to mix content along with videos. And links, the reciprocal links are all other things. So we try to put all that into the mix with videos, have the links, have some content so people can learn something. So it's, I would love to have a research. Anybody know a research person that would like to do a research study and replicate that? I'm curious to see how it is now. Things are, it could be even more as far as we know. But it's hard to say because there's so many ways that you can get video on your website. So I encourage you, do it on your own with a cell phone. Try filming on your own and then having a professional edit, or hire a professional like Jim or myself, and we could do everything for you. Yeah, Linda.
What kind of cameras are people buying that's above a cell phone? Because I see professional photographers with a digital. And I don't get as good quality with my cell as I have with my old. I'm not even sure what it's called, but the pre-cell phone.
Yeah, cameras. A camera. Yeah, Jim, do you want to chime in on that? No, Jim has like a high-end camera.
I use DSLRs, a digital single lens, which looks like your old Canon, but it's digital. They do full HD video, and it actually, Saturday Night Live uses these on their introductory. They use Canon cameras, digital, to film the. So the quality is outstanding. But then again, if I need a third camera and I only have two, I will pull out my iPhone and use it. And I'll bet if you looked at it, you wouldn't know which part was shot with the iPhone and which part was shot with the DSLR because the quality is so high. So keep in mind that your cameras, your phones can be very.
Any hints to the quality using the iPhone?
The new system does have adjustments, so you can touch your main subject in the field in the screen, and there will be a control where you can slide your finger to change the lighting and the focus on the iPhone 6. Yes.
You could also get software for filming. There is this thing, Filmic, Filmic, I think. There was a movie at Sundance that was actually all made on an iPhone using Filmic software and some fancier lenses or something like that.
There is some amazing software out there for that.
Yeah, where you could have a lot of control and you could get different kinds of lenses to put on your iPhone too. Right. So
and you can, and iMovie on the iPhone, which is just Apple software. It's remarkably. You can make an entire video, titles, transitions, stills. You can pull it all in. It's what you can, and it costs like $5.
It is pretty amazing, yeah.
So yeah, it's but yeah, if you were saying, well, if you felt you needed to go beyond a phone, I'd be a little careful because. A DSLR, if you get one that's going to really shoot high level, it's going to take some time to learn all the functions of it and how it operates.
So go to a 6 might be the next best step.
I think an iPhone 6, if you want to make good yet simple videos where you're not calling in Stu to do it, I think it's an excellent way to go. Yeah.
What about a GoPro?
Oh, GoPro is wonderful.
Yeah, some
GoPro?
No, I don't have one, but some of the considerations, though, would be like audio, for example.
Right.
Like the camera that's Corey's using right now actually has a microphone input jack, and GoPros don't, and the DSLRs, some of them do, some of them don't.
They have
well, not too many.
I always use a recorder.
Yeah, so you use an outboard. Right. So there are some limitations. Zooming is another thing. If you like to zoom, DSLR, you're not going to be really able to zoom, right?
You cannot zoom, but I do if I do zooming, I do it in editing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, sure.
And then that's where, I'll just say one more thing, I'll let you guys go. That's where what we call 4K. The question would be, what's the next step in video? Right now, you've heard of, maybe some of you heard of 1080p, means that there's 1,000 lines, 1,080 lines. 4K means there's 4,000 lines. And that's what these ultra high definition TV sets.
TVs, it's nuts.
Yeah, go to Costco. They're right in front, and you could put your eyes right over there. You go over here, and you start seeing all the little pixels, but you don't see them.
Yeah.
It almost looks like 3D. Yeah. So the idea with having the 4K, like Jim was saying, you could zoom in on the image, and it'll still be high definition. You could zoom in like 4 times, and it's still high definition. Okay. And the GoPros are at 4K level now too. Yeah. So, anyway, thank you all for coming. I'm available for questions here. Thank you.